Hello, my name is Cherie, and today I'll be demonstrating Assessment 1 for Practical number 5 for Counselling Therapies 2. The assessment is a formal discussion about two separate case study clients. So let's get started. Case study client number 1, Patricia, age 43. So the client's presenting concerns and issues are: Patricia is seeking counselling for pregnancy, family and relationship issues. Patricia is pregnant and doesn't know if she wants to keep the baby. Patricia hasn't told her husband that she's pregnant because she thinks they will have opposing views about what to do and that he will be adamant that she keep the baby. Patricia is very happy with her current life and doesn't want things to change. She thinks if she has the baby, a lot of things will change and that she'll be unhappy. The client's needs are: Patricia needs to explore and discuss what her different options are. Patricia needs to learn coping and relationship skills. Patricia needs to deal with her feelings about the pregnancy and her current change in circumstance. Counselling for goals for this client could be: Patricia will explore what her differences are regarding pregnancy. Patricia will learn coping and relationship skills that will help her make decisions regarding the pregnancy and whether she will be open with her husband Steve about it. I believe Patricia will be responsive to counselling. She has come on her own will and acknowledges she wants to talk through her feelings and options. I believe she has the motivation to participate in the sessions, which is important for counselling to be effective. Considering Patricia's responsiveness to change, likely goals and presenting goals, a cognitive behavioural approach will benefit Patricia because it is a straightforward approach to treatment and has face and empirical validity. Its flexible and broad treatment modalities encompasses many useful interventions that facilitates its application to a wide range of people and problems, including marital conflict, which is what Patricia is experiencing. Its emphasis is on goal setting, accountability and results. It is respectful and collaborative, encouraging Patricia to take responsibility for herself. Treatment seeks to improve emotional health, as well as improve behaviours and thinking. Patricia is experiencing cognitions, so thoughts, on attitudes about an event, for example having a baby, based on attitudes and assumptions derived from previous experiences, so having her two previous kids, and has assigned meaning to this event. It appears Patricia has failed to generate adequate strategies to deal with this external problem and is possibly exaggerating the likelihood of something bad happening if she were to have this baby. Therefore, cognitive techniques are designed to help her identify, test and correct distorted conceptualizations and the dysfunctional beliefs underlying these cognitions. By doing this, she is expected to experience improvement in symptoms and functioning. The limitations of using a cognitive behavioural approach with Patricia are: if her therapist has less than a full understanding of cognitive therapy, then he or she may view it as a technique-oriented approach and fail to appreciate the centrality of the relationship. Patricia may have difficulty completing assignments if she does not understand them, does not expect them to be helpful, or if she does not believe she will do them properly. If Patricia is negative about the value of the task used in this approach, then the therapist is unlikely to be able to persuade her to be enthusiastic about doing it. Patricia may have unrealistic expectations about the rate of progress and enter therapy with the expectation to be cured in the general 15 to 18 sessions. If Patricia experiences low frustration tolerance, it can be a block to progress, with many emotional and behavioural problems. A solution-focused approach would benefit Patricia because it is effective and efficient with a broad range of problems, including Patricia's. It is generally well received by clients and hopefully will be well received by Patricia. It is encouraging and empowering. It offers new ways of thinking about helping Patricia. It addresses immediate problems while enabling Patricia to make better use of her strengths and resources in addressing future difficulties. In this type of therapy, Patricia will be able to choose the goals she wishes to accomplish. There are exceptions to every problem. By talking about these exceptions, Patricia can get control over what had seemed to be an insurmountable problem. The climate of these exceptions allows for the possibility of creating solutions. Therefore, rapid changes are possible when Patricia identifies exceptions to her problem. There are advantages to a positive focus on solutions and on the future. If Patricia can reorient herself in the direction of her strengths using solution talk, there is a good chance therapy will be brief for her. The limitations of using a solution-focused approach for Patricia are: if Patricia and her therapist don't cooperate, resistance can occur. If there is a lack of clarity regarding Patricia's preferences, goals, and desired outcomes, then this can result in a rift between her and her therapist. The attitudes of the therapist is crucial to the effectiveness of the therapeutic process. If Patricia doesn't trust the therapist, then she may not return for further sessions or follow through on homework suggestions. In Patricia's case study notes, it states that she doesn't want anything to change, which suggests she may not like change. However, the idea that change is happening all the time is an important concept of solution-focused therapy. The techniques and/or processes I think would be most beneficial for Patricia are the cognitive behavioural technique of challenging cognitive distortions. This is because many clients show distortions of reality to varying degrees, and I believe Patricia has engaged in selective abstraction. This is where she's focused on a single set of details, ignored other relevant details of a situation, and drawn conclusions accordingly. For example, she's focused on negative aspects of having another child, screened out the positive aspects, and also drawn negative-oriented conclusions. She has also presented the situation in black or white, where there is no in-between or grey areas. For example, having another child means she will have to leave her job and she will be unhappy. Therefore, challenging Patricia's cognitive distortions will help her identify, test and correct distorted conceptualizations underlying these cognitions. The solution-focused technique, I believe, would be most appropriate to use with Patricia are exploring for exceptions. This technique is based on the notion that there was a time in Patricia's life when the problem she identifies was not as problematic or as intense. These times are called exceptions and represent news of difference. So, for example, Patricia's been pregnant before and has 2 children. So it's possible back then, when she was pregnant and would have experienced some anxiety regarding having a baby and life changes. But as it turned out, she's happy with how it all turned out. So by helping Patricia identify and examine these exceptions, the chances are increased that she will work towards solutions. This exploration may also remind her that problems may not have existed forever, and this provides a field of opportunity for evoking resources, engaging strengths, and posting possible solutions. The technique and/or process that I would be most comfortable using with Patricia is exploring for exceptions. This is because I understand how useful it can be and prefer to be solution-focused than problem-focused. Case study client number 2, Judith, age 30. The client's presenting concerns and issues are: Judith is not getting along with a co-worker. Judith has been referred to counselling over a bullying incident at work. Judith is presenting workplace issues. Judith is attending counselling only to keep HR happy and is concerned that she's not at fault and that the whole situation is a waste of time. Judith acknowledges she has high standards and the other staff member involved is overly sensitive. Therefore, there is a value clash. The client's needs are: Judith needs to explore the reasons for why she has been referred to counselling. Judith needs to deal with her feelings about the situation she's in and explore different behaviour styles to adopt when there is a clash in values. Judith needs to learn relationship building skills, coping skills, and skills for communicating positively and effectively with others. Counselling goals for this client may include: Judith will learn new relationship and communication building skills that will help her work with others effectively in the workplace. Judith will learn new ways of working with others who have different values to her. I believe Judith may not be responsive to counselling. This is because she has been referred to counselling by HR and admits she's here to keep them happy and believes she has no responsibility over the bullying situation. If she persists with this reasoning and has no motivation to explore this issue further or change, counselling will not be successful. However, depending on the patient, therapist, and interaction variables, and through the use of the appropriate styles of therapy, there is a strong possibility she will be responsive and that counselling will be effective. Considering Judith's responsiveness to change, presenting goals and likely goals, a cognitive behavioural approach would benefit Judith because cognitive therapy is directive and structured, but can also be flexible too. Behaviour techniques have proven to be effective because they may bring attitudinal or cognitive changes in patients, and hopefully the same will happen for Judith. This approach will encourage accountability and responsibility. One principle of cognitive therapy is the way that individuals structure situations determines how they behave or feel. Specific thoughts take place between an external event and a certain emotional response. Therefore, Judith can be taught to observe these thoughts introspectively before experiencing an emotion. The therapist will aim to understand the rules under which Judith operates, so he or she can better understand her illogical behaviour and abnormal emotional responses. Cognitive therapy's focus is on helping Judith overcome blind spots, blurred perceptions, self-deceptions, and incorrect judgments. The limitations of using a cognitive behavioural approach with Judith are: cognitive techniques focus on the present issues and do not pay enough attention to how the past affects the present. Interventions may be misinterpreted in a negative way by Judith, and confusion and faulty attributions may result. There may be blocks to the completion of homework tasks. If the therapist can't help overcome Judith's negative thinking about carrying out the tasks, cognitive techniques may be applied incorrectly, incompletely, too rigidly, or at an inappropriate time. If this happens, Judith may not respond to a technique because it is applied prematurely or it is too threatening. A solution-focused approach would benefit Judith because Judith has come into therapy with negative cognitions. Solution-focused therapy works on the assumption that clients have the capability of behaving effectively, even though this effectiveness may be temporarily blocked by negative cognitions. Judith has presented only one side of herself. A solution-focused therapist will invite her to examine another side of the story she is presenting. If Judith and her therapist cooperate, resistance will not occur. Solution-focused therapy has become one of the most influential approaches to counselling, so it's proven to be effective. It can be brief and strategic. The use of the miracle question will be a useful tool to facilitate information gathering and goal setting. The limitations of using a solution-focused approach with Judith are: if Judith doesn't feel accepted by the therapist or feels blamed, judged, or disapproved, then these feelings will be incompatible with the principles of solution-focused therapy. If Judith cannot or will not engage in change talk, or for some time, or she never manages to do so, then another approach will be required. Solution-focused therapy differs from traditional therapies by eschewing the past in favour of both the present and the future. So her therapist will have little to no interest in gaining an understanding of the problem. And if Judith keeps going back to the workplace incident and or the past constantly, then this type of therapy will not be effective. The techniques and or processes I think would be most beneficial for Judith are the cognitive behavioural technique ABC sequence. This sequence is a model for interpreting human behaviour. A stands for an activating event, B is for the client's belief about the event, and C is for the consequence. According to this model, poor reasoning leads to false beliefs, self-defeating behaviour, and emotional distress. So, for example, a false belief Judith may have is that it is necessary to be competent and successful in all those things which are attempted. This belief may have led to the workplace incident that took place. So if Judith does have a false belief, and that in turn increases the likelihood of inappropriate behaviour. So this technique will help assist Judith to formulate an alternative rational belief. The solution-focused technique, I believe, that would be appropriate to use for Judith is the miracle question, where Judith will be encouraged to enact what would be different in spite of her perceived problem. This process of considering hypothetical solutions reflects belief that changing the doing and the viewing of the perceived problem changes the problem. Asking Judith to consider what a miracle takes place upon opens up a range of future possibilities. The technique and/or process I would be most comfortable using with Judith is the use of the miracle question. This is because, like I mentioned before in Patricia's case study, I appreciate solution-focused therapy. I think when you can better relate to a particular type of therapy, in this case solution-focused, then the easier it becomes to use the techniques from that type of therapy. As you can see with both case studies, the factors of success and failure in both cognitive behavioural therapy and solution-focused therapy depend on the exact patient situation, patient variables, therapist variables, and interaction variables. Thank you.